begin? Ready? Oh, okay. So good to see everyone. I couldn't see everyone's picture, but happy seeing all of you and knowing you're all there. And greetings to you all. And so today we will discuss on Ngondro practice. And so one particular subject today I thought we should discuss, and we can have question and answer, is the causes to enlightenment. All our practice, which means all our merit, how we can make that a seed of enlightenment. And what are those causes? I thought we should kind of touch that subject. I think very important subject. And then so let's see. So let's begin with that. So let's do a supplication at the beginning. Om Nasi Nam Tata Jinundu Pe, Taji Juju Jina Shawayi, Sangi Chudangi, Guna Chasa Dasha, Tachi Shu, the major Positin to Duku, Champagne Pekata. Guna Gumba Jajarabache, Lumbo Tarpasara Pedani, Simjatum Jet. He sims a pasirap trouble day, Tensum de Beta Pepe, the worship by your lodge. Jambejano, Padendurje, Cheres Wangumbo Jambepe, say Nimpoti. Namgenyo Pajo Kunduzang, Upeduje Pega Lushinda, no Buddha Warati. Chase Lenum Tashi Pegijo, Chanju Sempa Gela, Chasalo, Jinjo, Dudjom Tersar Ngondro Kamala, Gerado, Punzo Pepe, Menu Gaze, Wonder. Rinjenda Joji Chaden Chen, Shudu Gawa Chujin Gigam, Gisum Water. Trashi Lamo Gela Chazalo, Somba Chumbo de Jungsemebu, Miko de Dayabu. Pakebodano Mimizan, Namtese de Lase Colo Dang, Tishula Dang. Bewan the teacher gets in the Sasum Nesu Gilly. Jili Gua Gela Chazalo, Daja Tender Chawasam. Geda Nyawartsewa Kunjini, de Bebe, some de Yishin Drup, Trashi de Le Pusum So Parashu. Padun Savela Marimboche, Dagachi Urpebe de Jula, Katin Chimbe Hune, Kosung Tuki Ngondro Sadu. So, when we do Dharma practice, first of all, it's very important to generate the altruistic motivation, whether one is teaching or whether one is hearing the teaching, so that we include all beings, not just who are in the attendance of the teaching, but all beings without exception, that by hearing this Dharma for the student, from this point of view of the student, by hearing this, what is it?
Just turning up the volume.
By hearing this teaching, I will practice the Dharma, and then when I get enlightened, then I will lead all mother sentient beings from this ocean of suffering and lead them towards nirvana, towards liberation. That kind of altruistic motivation is very important when we listen to the Dharma. And also for the teacher, when giving the teaching, by giving this teaching, all being here in their own different language, and then they may hear the Dharma, the truth, and then may they achieve liberation. And therefore, I'm giving this teaching according to the mental capacity of each and every being. We have different levels and different capacity. For example, there are beings where some have very strong attachment, and there are beings some have very strong anger. There are beings some have very strong jealousy, and they're being with infinite levels of mind states. So therefore, in working on the each and everyone's level, the Dharma is the medicine for all affliction. And by applying that medicine of Dharma, then I will liberate myself from this ignorant affliction and transcend from that. And then when I get enlightened, I will lead all beings without exception, no matter how long it takes, the duration. You know, when we talk about beings, there is no end to beings. Wherever the space prevails, the beings prevails. Wherever beings prevails, afflictions prevail. Wherever afflictions prevail, suffering prevails. So as long as like infinite beings exist, and that may take a very, very long time, but you are not discouraged by thinking in terms of the numbers of beings and the time that it may take to lead them all out of samsara. That in so many forms, they are bodhisattvas. Not only they come in the human form, but they come also in the form of animals to lead beings out of animals. So bodhisattva's aspiration is infinite. Some may come in the form of doctors, some may come in the form of politicians, some may come in the form of, in every aspect. They're even like in the butchers, and they're also, how to benefit being in their own way is beyond ordinary person's imagination. So therefore, that when you're completely, in fact, when you take the bodhisattva vow and when you practice bodhicitta, you give up all your notion or the identity of how you like to benefit being. Oh, in order to benefit being, I have to become a king. I have to become some important person. It's not necessary. Whatever form that you take to benefit being, that level of aspiration is needed. It says to all different mental capacity of being, therefore each and every one needs different level of medicine. Some need stronger medicine, like when we have a very strong sickness, then we need to take antibiotic, not the regular medicine benefit. So likewise, to each and every being, according to their mental capacity, with the bodhisattvas, their compassion infinitely manifests and benefit being according to that. So that's the kind of aspiration we need to bring about. As long as the duration of time is so long to empty the samsara. And then the amount of being is so much. And your courage, the bodhicitta courage, should be so much. Likewise, you are not discouraged. Like a earth, the example is like a earth. Earth, no matter how many mountains are there, how many oceans, big ocean, lakes, rivers, houses, cars, everything, walk on it, it holds it, but it never complains. It's there all the time. You can count on walking on the earth. You can count on sitting on the earth and resting on it. So likewise, the Bodhisattvas make aspiration. May I be those who need bridge, may I become bridge. Those who needs whatever to benefit being, may I become that. That is the power how bodhicitta mind is. Like the supreme mind of all mind. Bodhicitta mind is the supreme mind. So begin with that is essential in our Dharma practice. You know, it is said that let's not talk about enlightenment. Even worldly sensorial pleasures are gained through some kind of good wishes. Even that requires some good wishes to gain that. And to get enlightenment, you need like a very profound altruistic motivation, which transcends from ego. Even the worldly sensorial, which is still within the ego's realm, but that also requires some good, good heart, good thought. Even you do not transcend from the ego's realm, most ordinary people's good work is still within it, but that also requires some level of sanity, some level of good wishes. Now, when we think about enlightenment, then you have to go so deeper into bodhicitta mind. So, foremost important is the bodhicitta mind. Therefore, Tonglen practice becomes very essential at the beginning. Without this bodhicitta mind, I think we talk about enlightenment is almost impossible to achieve it. There is no way we can achieve. So living in our domain of ego and thinking we will get out of it just by feeding that ego, there is no way, no possibility. So therefore, we need to understand, you know, the nature of relative phenomena. Why in Buddha Dharma speak about the two truths, relative truth and absolute truth. These two truths are so important. By understanding the relative truth, then, um, uh, uh, you can bring joy and happiness and peace by knowing the right kind of cause and effect. Because all your worldly pleasures and joy or happiness, sensorial pleasures, it comes from cause and effect. It's simply put, it's just one word, cause and effect. So therefore, Buddha said, creating for happiness, one is to create positive karma. If to get rid of our suffering, we need to abandon the negative karma, and they are all linked with our state of mind, our like the 10 virtues conduct and 10 unvirtuous conduct. And so they are all linked with that, cause and effect. So for ordinary people, uh, first we need to learn is positive state of mind, abandoning 10 unvirtuous deed and practicing 10 virtuous deed. That's the beginning. I think first level, we need to understand how to bring about that. And then on top of that, now when you talk about bodhicitta mind, then you go the next level. It's not in the first level. Cause and effect is in the very first level, fundamental level. Then the next stage after cause and effect is then you take bodhicitta mind. So those who are doing Ngondro, you're supposed to have graduated, like you are supposed to have graduated as a good person already. Whether that is true or not, but one is supposed to be someone person who respect cause and effect, who believes in cause and effect, who practice cause and effect, who try to abandon all negativity and practice positivity. That is the first stage. ethical practice, the foundation, ground. Then once you have that grounding, then the next level is bodhicitta mind. Now, when we talk about bodhicitta mind, then, it goes deeper because it speak about the relative bodhicitta and then absolute bodhicitta. The relative bodhicitta is the notion of, seeing already, let's say on the Hinayana level, the first stages level, you've seen the suffering of beings no matter where you're born, and then by seeing that, you have a sense of deep renunciation to samsara. I'm talking a Dhamma practitioner. If it's not a Dhamma practitioner, just have 10 positive deeds and abandon 10 negative deeds. They can get higher rebirths, but it's not reliable. You can even born to the highest level of samsara to become a universal monarch, or have all the powers and everything, five sensorial pleasures and everything, but it's still impermanence. Once that karma is exhausted, you will fall down. That's what is happening, in the relative realm. We all live in the conventional realm or relative realm, whatever we may call that, and we live in constantly cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. But there is a problem. Though we all have a yearning for happiness and liberation, but we end up into a lot of suffering and a lot of confusion. It's like back to square number one. We're getting back to square number one. And the wish is happiness, but we end up doing the wrong thing all the time. And by doing the wrong thing, which is influenced by ignorance and affliction, we end up in suffering. It's simple. Very simple. We end up in suffering. That's the reality. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with, Buddha Dharma or Christian Dharma or any Dharma. Though from the Buddhist point of view, it's just a nature. Then some other religion may say, yeah, there's Satan's work or there is demon's work, whatever. In Buddhism, it's simply a question of ignorance versus non-ignorance. When your mind is in ignorance, then you fall into those traps. You become a victim of your own self. And if your mind is awakened, then you don't fall into that victim. So therefore, one's own recognition and one's own path is your mind. There is no other path. It's not that, Buddha will put like a white ladder and try to pull you up. It's not going to happen like that. Your mind is the ladder. That you will have to pull yourself up out of the darkness of ignorance. That's what Dharma is about. So it's become, your own personal journey. That's how your journey of affliction is your personal, your journey of compassion is your personal, your journey of deeper bodhicitta is your personal, your journey of higher rigpa awareness realization is your journey also. There is no one that we think, okay, now just like we like to celebrate birthdays, invite our friends, and then balloons, and then this and that, and all kinds of things. And we always like to do that kind of thing because it's expression of duality. We like that. We like celebration. We like pomps. We like to show off things. But it's so, when you get liberation, there's no, you think the angels will come and dance for you and put you on a high seat, and now I'm in light. It's not going to happen. You're just going to be the way you look like, and, yourself, to simply put, yourself. But what changes is your mind now. Before your mind is caught up in very ordinary state of mind, no bodhicitta, no wisdom, nothing. And now suddenly, you have a deeper level of realization within you. And as Uh, and as you practice Dharma, as you accumulate the 10 virtues deed and abandon 10 non-virtues deeds and practice bodhicitta, your merit begin to strengthen, strengthen, and then you begin to uh, have more inner joy. And when the inner joy begin to manifest, there is peace, harmony, and contentment. And wherever you go, you're able to bring tremendous positive energy, beneficial to being, beneficial to yourself. And those are natural qualities of the merit. So therefore, bodhicitta mind, foremost, is the most important thing. And bodhicitta mind alone is not enough. For example, bodhicitta minds mean I want to liberate myself and all being out of samsara. That is bodhicitta mind. But in order to, how you're going to liberate, that's become very important, and every religion says that, you follow me and you will get salvation. That's the general teaching of all religion. But in the Buddha Dharma, that's called refuge. Buddhist refuge is very different than other refuge. Buddhist refuge, yes, when you do a ceremony, it looks like very similar. Like in Christianity, you take what is it called? You dip inside baptism. There's a ritual of baptism, and there is a ritual in Buddha Dharma too. You do 3 prostration, and then you recite the three times taking refuge in the Buddha, 3 times taking refuge in the Dharma, 3 times taking refuge in the Sangha. So you have, it looks very ritual outside. And for many people, they try to identify themselves as a Buddhist because I got that whole ceremony, and the teacher gave me the stamp of approval with with the refuge name. So and you hang that up, maybe whether in a silver frame or wooden frame or whatever. So you think I have all the credential, now I'm a Buddhist. But that's very questionable kind of Buddhist. Yes, you are the reason that name is given, the reason the ritual has to be performed is, to so you can, from that day on, now you can work with your mind. It's the reminding for you to work with your mind that you've taken refuge in the Buddha, means you will not allow your mind to be fallen into extreme of any kind of extreme, mainly the 2 kinds of extreme of nihilism and extreme of eternalism. Why shouldn't we just allow the mind to be extreme nihilism? Because it's not the true reality of phenomena. And why not into extreme of eternalism? Not the reality of phenomena. I mean, when you cling to your ego, there's eternalism. And when you really look at mind's nature, emotion nature, mental nature, all our thoughts, emotion, there's no inherent, like, sealed mindset that will never change. They all change. They're all nature and fluid, like constantly changing. For example, like our emotions have become like a ice, uh, and it's very sharp, it's very cutting, and it can create bleeding and painful. But if actually the essence or the nature of the ice is water, completely fluid. When you boil it, when the temperatures get heat up, that ice becomes fluid. It can wash the blood, it can do healing, it can purify. So mind nature is like that. But when the mind nature is not understood, it becomes like a ice, which become, you know, uh, uh, painful, and creates suffering to us. So therefore, So therefore, refuge means the eternalistic view are not in conformity with our nature. A nihilistic mindset is also not in conformity with the reality of our mind. So both of those views are wrong views. Eternalistic view and nihilistic view. You have to look at, any particular thought, doesn't have to be any particular thought, but any thoughts. Its nature is open, fluid, changing. They're not like unchanging. No matter how angry you are, at some point it will go away, So because it's not in its nature to fall into the extreme. So I don't need to tell much about that right now, but I'm just simply saying that. So when you transcend, you have realization. The nature is not eternalism. Nature is not nihilism. Then it's called something middle path. Yeah, middle path doesn't mean that, uh, something which is not right, something which is not left, something in the middle. Like we have like a yellow lane in the middle of the road. So that yellow, is that the middle? That is also not it. If you try to think that the middle lane is the middle path, then you're again creating extreme also. It basically is the essence transcended all extreme. So any type of mental posit that this is it, that it falls into extreme. So therefore, nature, our awareness is utterly open fundamentally. We may experience a lot of chaos, but we all know that it changes, it goes away. Nothing sticks there. So it shows that essence is utterly open, it's not fallen into any extreme. Right now, due to our ignorance and habits from so many lifetimes, we tend to experience those sharpness, being fallen into this extreme of emotion, that extreme of emotion, sometime less, sometime more, sometime like. So it's like constantly moving around, but there's never like this is it. It is in the center, or it's in the right, or it's in the left. It's beyond all those conceptual ideas. So that's how the view of middle path means transcended from all extreme. That is the refuge. That is truly the Buddha nature. That's get very deeper. Right now, we only have a sense of the gross idea of that. But when you do your meditation and your ngondro, so then you will get to the subtle level of mind, and deeper, subtle level. And then you begin to see your awareness that mind is so vast and open. And, so anyway, so that is what is called the Dharmakaya mind, Buddha mind. Now, if there is a mind which is so open and which is so free, and which is so utterly free, it is not like falling into some kind of dark space or dark hole. It is a natural radiance, that mind. So it's not fallen into nihilism. Why? Because the mind has a natural radiance. If there is a sun, sun has a natural radiance, which is light. Same thing, mind is not fallen into nihilism because there is a natural spontaneous presence, light, clear light. And so at the same time, that expression, that light nature is utterly free of all inherent existence, utterly open. So it's not fallen into an eternalism, it's neither fallen into nihilism. So that realization, which is our own true nature, that's called Buddha nature. You see, so that's what you're trying to achieve through your all level of Dharma practice, whether Hinayana practice level, Mahayana practice level, Vajrayana practice level, Mahamudra practice level, Zopa Chimpo. As the practice get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, is to realize that essence, which is primordially free and primordially open. It's just like clouded for the time being. Therefore it's called temporal obscuration. Clouded for the time being, that we got habituated into our thoughts and emotion and this and that, and all kinds of samsaric phenomena begin to manifest, and just like a dream. There is no difference between a dream, nighttime state and daytime state. They are exactly the same in essence. But we feel that daytime is very real because of our gross attachment and gross habit. And nighttime we experience, oh, while we are going through the dream, we are very real. But when we wake up, then we say, oh, yeah, it was a dream. Anyway, as far as being experienced, they're both the same. One is grosser and one is subtle. But both of, whether you look at the dream's nature or whether you look at daytime nature, in essence, they're all the same. So therefore, so taking refuge, once you know the direction, what refuge really means, is to realize that awareness, then that's what Buddha Dharma is talking about, taking refuge. It's not talking about you take a picture with your guru and Buddha Shakyamuni behind and put that in a big frame. Now I'm Buddhist. That's very, that's very superficial, artificial kind of thing. Anyway, so refuge. Since the nature of all being has Buddha nature, means transcended from all extreme, to realize that, in order to realize that, then one goes for the refuge. And then in order to that mind of Buddha's mind, in order to achieve it, it requires tremendous merit. Think about merit. You have to practice so much, for example, to overcome your negativities in your mind. Let's say your, day-to-day life, a bad thought arises, and you try to counteract that with a positive thought. And it's just like you have to have a mindfulness. Otherwise, you can slip through it all the time. So, so as a practitioner, uh, as a practitioner, really, it's when you really look at it, it's overwhelming. When my mind cannot even sit for like few seconds or 5 minutes into a sanity, how can I really overcome all my downfall, which is 24 hour? Like every moment to moment, you are losing your mind. You know, you want happiness, but the very cause of that happiness is not sticking there. Instead, all this affliction, habits, and emotion that comes and overwhelms you. So, you get overwhelmed. I'm going to deal with it. Oh, it's impossible to get enlightenment, you know. And at least right now, the saving grace, sort of saving grace, is due to your past merit. A very temporal saving grace. Due to your past merit, I would say you're a human being. But you're not going to be a human being all the time. When you die, you will leave this body. And then your next karma will manifest. So, and just being human itself is not easy. As we see, times get, the times change and times are much more difficult than in the 20, 30 years ago. Everything get heightened neurosis, heightened pain and suffering prevailing in our world, and many places like that. So then right now, due to your past good karma, you're a human being. So your pain is definitely, no matter how much you complain, is so much lighter than a hell realm. There's no question of that. It's much lighter than a hungry ghost. It's much better than a dog or some creatures in the ocean and a fish or so many, those who have not even a moment of peace. At least, you and we can, we are fortunate to be in America, which is still, it has its imperfect, but there's still a lot of great things. We still have human rights and so many things. But supposing you're in a war zone area, you know, of course, still that is better than being in a hell realm and a hungry ghost. But still, you never know when the bullet's gonna fell on you, or some mortars or some bombs could fall and blow you up. You're constantly living in fear. You can't fall asleep. But at least here we can fall asleep. You may be hungry. You don't have a food to eat, but you can just fall on this street or something and go by like that until you die. But still, of course, there is suffering, but the suffering is less. My point is, suffering is less. Being a human. And that is because your past some good karma has made you a human. I think we really need to take this in consideration. We can't take being a human to be granted. Should not take it as a granted because there's cause and effect involved. If there is no cause and effect involved, then you can take for granted. How many good karma your accumulation has put you in this form right now as a human being. So that itself is really like an amazing merit. So that's why I'm saying it's a saving grace that you're still a human, better than a hellrium and better than a hungry ghost and better than an animal. No matter how much we complain, still better, like that. So therefore, now, so how much we face challenge in life? We face so much challenge in life that is overwhelming. How can I achieve such a merit that can lead me to enlightenment? Because enlightenment will require tremendous merit. Enlightenment is not something, the cause of enlightenment, needless to say, merit. And then that means, needless to say, the only mind which can lead us is bodhicitta mind. There's no other mind which comparable to that kind of mind, because in bodhicitta mind is the altruistic mind. Altruistic, like, the great compassionate altruistic mind, which is in fact the union of wisdom and compassion, not just falling into one extreme of compassion, but wisdom too. Without wisdom, then it will missing the essence. And so therefore, the union of wisdom and compassion, in order to achieve that kind of awareness, first you need to generate the bodhicitta mind, the altruistic motivation that samsara, definitely there is suffering. And the cause of suffering is our negative karma. And the root cause is ignorance. So now how do I practice Dharma so that I can purify the very habits and seeds and all this obscuration? And therefore, you generate and you see that beings are so important to do that. You cannot achieve enlightenment if you do not include all beings in your practice. If you just think of yourself, yes, you will achieve a state of certain level of state, but you will not achieve full Buddhahood enlightenment. Because Buddhahood requires tremendous merit. That's been tremendous, like the greatest good heart or the greatest compassion or the greatest thing, which without inclusivity of all being, without exclusion. Every being which, exists, that your mind is as vast as the space beings prevails. Wherever beings prevails, suffering and confusion prevails. Wherever suffering and affliction mind prevails, my mind to lead them out of samsara, from this ocean of suffering, also prevails. That's the kind of bodhisattva mindset. So therefore, this kind of, every morning when we do our Ngondro practice, why it's important for us to do Dharma practice every day? Because we need to really bring a change. And without a change, we cannot achieve. You just get up, drink a coffee, get into your car, and go to work. And, all you're dealing with is ordinary being. And they all become contribution to your affliction. They themselves don't know Dharma. They themselves don't have no idea of bodhicitta, no idea of wisdom, no idea of compassion, all engaging in very mundane, ordinary affliction deep inside. Then everyone, every day when you come back, you're bringing a load of karma with you, actually, where once in a while there's a sense of, of course, I'm not saying that people don't have any good thoughts. There are time good thoughts, but those are all tainted good thoughts. They're not untainted good thoughts. They want the right thing best for your country, for your people, for your kind, but not others. Really, that kind of biased mind is there. Sentient being, dualistic mind is like that. For you and your kind, but not for others. So therefore it's very limited. So therefore, uh, this altruistic motivation is one of the most remarkable mindset that we have, the Buddha nature. And there's no mind which is comparable to that. So that's what is required in doing the Ngondro practice. And uh, so I think it's very important to understand, the fundamentals of refuge and bodhicitta. Without understanding the refuge and bodhicitta deep enough, you try to do Ngondro. Yes, it sounds good. Everyone is doing. I like to do it too. And then after some times, then you flop down. You don't want to do it. And then you begin to ask question, why I'm doing prostration? It's just like an exercise. Why I'm doing repetition? It doesn't make sense. I need something exciting, things like that. We couldn't uh, drill enough our obscuration, because the obscuration keep building. And then also your practice is meager practice. You don't do your practice all the time with mindfulness. You only do it like, once in a while, once a week or twice a week, that 15 minutes. And the rest of 23 hours and something, your mind is obsessed, filled with affliction, and overcome by that. It's very challenging. So therefore, first thing in the morning, every day, cleanse your channel 3 times, and then do atonement practice, and then to really have a deep understanding of what's refuge, deep understanding of what is bodhicitta. And one of the greatest book to understand bodhicitta is Shantideva's Bodhichara Avatara teaching. And when you really integrate your mind in those states, then you will have a genuine practice. Then you will be no problem in transcending from the cycle of samsara. So I thought that is very important. uh, Understanding refuge means transcending the eternalistic mindset and nihilistic mindset. And understanding bodhicitta in bodhicitta is called Dowar Dotang Dowai. In the Tibetan word is Mumpa Simkit and Jupa Simkit. The aspiring bodhicitta, and and then there is entering bodhicitta. Aspiring, it's like you want to go to New York, it's in the east direction. So that's like aspiring to go to New York. Then entering bodhicitta, you drive, you go by train or you fly, whatever, going towards the direction. Then it's like practicing bodhisattva. And they still both are within the relative nature of the bodhicitta. Now, absolute bodhicitta is remaining in the awareness, emptiness. So emptiness is very, very important to understand the deepen of meaning of emptiness. Without emptiness, you cannot overcome affliction. The only emptiness can purify, eliminate the very seed of affliction. No mind can purify the seed of affliction without the realization of emptiness. So, emptiness is the heart essence of the Buddha Dharma, which is basically mean transcending eternalism and nihilism. Also something we think in the middle, even transcending that, all extremes, I think there is a verses in the sutra is first you overcome self, then first you overcome affliction, then in the middle you overcome self. Third, you overcome all views. True Buddha nature is transcended from all views. If you cling, oh, I want to. If you cling, then it creates duality. You know, duality brings all affliction. So it's get really, really deep. So therefore, you will get to that by first you bring bodhicitta, you know, the aspiring bodhicitta, then actualizing bodhicitta. Then, you know, you do meditation, shamatha meditation, and then vipassana meditation. So then our practice become very well, and they're all like integrated into our Ngondro practice. You know, don't think that in there is like Ngondro practice. There is shamatha and vipassana all inclusive in the Ngondro practice. For example, stability of your mind in the Ngondro practice is calm abiding. And then the seeing the nature of our Ngondro essence is vipassana. You know, so they're all like integrated. It's not that if you're doing Ngondro practice, where is my shamatha meditation or where is my vipassana meditation? Their essence, no dharma practice is not inclusive of the two bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. All Dharma practice is inclusive of relative bodhicitta, absolute. So that includes your Ngondro practice, or Yidam practice, or Lama practice, or Dakini practice, or Mahamudra practice, Dzogpa Shinpo practice, like that. So this is important to understand. So now while we're doing Ngondro, Ngondro is extraordinary practice for very, very, very fortunate beings. It's not like Buddha turn the wheel of Dharma 3 times according to the mindset of beings. You know, the first level of beings are like what we call the Theravadan teaching is for the lower level of mindset. Hinayana. Hina means like lower. Yana it means weaker. Lower yana means lower mindset. Then Maha means great, the greater mindset. So basically, the old Dharma has been, phrased in the Hina, Yana, and Mahayana. But of course, it's not like there is only 2 kinds of mindset. There's so many in between. I would say that there are millions of level of mindset in between. You know, there can be a person, it's called that the beings, the superior being, mediocre being, inferior being. Doesn't mean that you are it's not described based on race or sex. It's described based on your compassion and wisdom, So the superior, superior mediocre, superior inferior, inferior superior, inferior mediocre, inferior inferior, mediocre superior, mediocre mediocre, mediocre inferior, and then in between so many that also, just like infinite mindset. So therefore, the essence is one. Those are all like attributes for mind. The inferior and mediocre are the attributes, but like the attributes of our dualistic mind, how we build up ourselves, and now how we identify ourselves. For example, if you look, let's say there are 3 friends, and somebody joke. For one person, it can be funny. One person will get hurt by their joke, and one person will be very neutral. So everything you bring about, nothing will be same to. If there's 100 people will have a different experience. Not single thing, To some it may be funny, to some it may not be funny. Like whether you go to a comedy show or whatever. So you see, this is how when Buddha give the teaching to some, Hinayana teaching was perfect. Some Mahayana teaching, they couldn't get it. It's too deep. And Vajrayana teaching, let's not even talk about. But anyway, all those practice, as I said, for ordinary people, those who just want to try to be good, of course, it's not perfect, but at least they can try to practice good karma, abandon negative karma. It's okay. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing, you know. And then those who want to now seeing, no matter what it is, samsara, even become a king or the most powerful, but still there is suffering, you know. So there was deep sense of nausea, deep sense of renunciation. And those are the people who do dharma, with mindfulness, so that they, how to achieve whether arahat state or bodhisattva state or vidyadhara state, gradually. Now, again, those just practicing bodhicitta is great, but still, your mind has been habituated in all kinds of affliction and emotion. It'll be so difficult, isn't it? If you try to practice compassion, if someone say, you are like a shit, you're no good, you are this, you are that, you will get angry. You will get affected. You won't be able to stand that. And you will answer something, That shows that, bodhicitta practice, though you're doing is great, but still you get affected due to your, nothing wrong with bodhicitta, but your own habits and your negativities and your ignorance that you use for so long time. It's not easy to get rid of that. Then, so that vehicle is great, but it's a very challenging, still very challenging vehicle. Now, then the next level is Vajrayana. In the Vajrayana, the difference of Mahayana Sutra and Vajrayana is the genuine Vajrayana practice is called the pure vision. You see fundamental goodness in all being. Even Mahayana sees that Buddha nature exists in all being, but that though the essence of all being nature is Buddha nature, whether in Mahayana Sutra or whether it's understood in Mahayana Sutra, it's understood in Tantra Vajrayana, but the vehicle that you bring about to realize, that makes a difference. It's like riding in a plane and driving by a bicycle. The boat will lead you, but one may take years and challenging, while one may go very smoothly and easy. So like that. So Vajrayana practice is that you have Vajrayana practice is result of your tremendous merit. It didn't happen without a cause. It will require tremendous six paramita practice, for immeasurable practice, and you name it, all the greatest your mind can do for you to be that Vajrayana level. And finally, you are like a food is in front of you and you're eating it. Now you are practicing that. So that requires tremendous merit. And that merit comes from the bodhicitta. There's nothing else, bodhicitta. So therefore, when you do Vajrayana practice, now it's like a shortcut. Vajrayana is a practice, shortcut, tremendous power. And also you have to be careful, because if you damage the samaya of the Vajrayana principle, then there's a downfall. Now, what is that samaya? Because Vajrayana is a practice, we are doing Vajrayana practice, first of all, in Buddha Dharma. We do Vajrayana practice to get enlightened. We don't do Vajrayana practice to fly in the sky or dive in the ground or show the powers that I can do this, I can do that to the world. You're just trying to overcome your afflictions and downfall so that you can realize your enlightened mind. So for that, since that being the case of Vajrayana, it will require tremendous strength, mindfulness, bodhicitta, of course, which is the main ingredient, and the emptiness, and then in that way, as you practice, then you have to, the samaya is connected with basic goodness. Basic goodness is our nature, Buddha nature. So any downfall from that basic goodness is a samaya breakage, is Vajrayana. That's what samaya breakage and Vajrayana means. You're breaking yourself, basically, and in connection, yes, there are 14 root downfall of samaya. Criticizing the teacher. Once you receive a Vajrayana teaching, you criticize the teacher. That's one downfall. Criticizing Dharma is another downfall. And then criticizing and looking down on sentient being is another downfall. Criticizing woman is another downfall, because woman is the nature of wisdom. So you see, Vajrayana principles, there are a lot, and of course, criticizing men will be like criticizing the skillful compassion. So you need to maintain tremendous level of purity. You need a tremendous level of clarity in that state. So that's for Vajrayana practitioner. And whoever can do that, then the result will be so fast. And the whole lineage blessing in the Vajrayana, there's lineage blessing from Samantha Bhadra, the Vajrasattva, the old lineage master, Garab Doji, Jampel Singh, Shri Singha, Padmasambhava, Ishe Sogyal, and Padmasambhava, to one's teacher, and then from your teacher to you, it's like that lineage, like the purity based on bodhicitta, based on the perfect view of emptiness. That's what the blessing comes to you. And then, therefore, you're able to realize quickly in one lifetime or few lifetimes, instead of like in the Sutrayana, it takes 3 endless years to achieve enlightenment. Here you're talking one lifetime, on that vehicle, if you do it properly. So tremendous benefit also there. As well as if you break that, then there's downfall, because it's a vehicle of purity, is a vehicle of the highest level that you have to maintain on that highest level. And if you try to break that, then there is danger in this vehicle. So therefore, that's what generally. So now, then, I'm not going to go through today for the whole Ngondro text, but so that's one thing I want to explain, refuge in bodhicitta, essential. Then the other thing is, called the three sacredness. Three sacredness, in order to achieve realization, enlightenment, we need to accumulate merit. We spoke a great deal of merit. And how can we maintain the merit without damaging the merit or without staining the merit? So, for example, what stain, when we talk about stain to the merit or damage to the merit, we're talking a circumstance, right? An interaction. And the interaction, of course, fundamentally comes from your mind. So therefore, it's prescribed very clearly in the Vajrayana teaching. Like, for example, you create a merit, regardless small or big. You save a life, you give a food to someone, you do help beings in any way. But that can be destroyed. You can destroy the merit, and the cause of destroying the merit, there are 4 causes. One is um, one is you create the merit, and then you regret. You regret after, I should have done less. That was a little too much, for example. Or you regret doing that good work, for example, whatever that merit is. So that can destroy the merit, one thing. And the second is, uh, uh, for example, you create a great merit, then after some time you get so angry, or whatever circumstance in your life, day to day, you interact, and some big anger happens right after you create merit, and that can destroy the merit. And then the third is, so too, um, um, now reason is how, you need to reflect deeply into this. When I say that the anger can destroy merit, in fact, it's in the Bodhichara Avatara teaching, Shantideva says that all your generosity and then ethics and samadhi, patience, for 1,000 years, if you get angry to a bodhisattva, it can destroy 1,000 years of merit in an instant, for example. If you get angry to an ordinary being, it can destroy their merit for 100 years. So then again, though all sentient beings are, all important, But if you get angry to your parents, for example, they've given you life, and they have raised you, and they feed you, educate you, they've been kind. So if you get angry to your parents, I think it's more negative karma than getting angry to another sentient being. Of course, with every sentient being, you lose, you destroy your merit, your, but getting angry to your parents or to bodhisattvas, I think they're much more heavier than, and your teacher, of course, the Buddha, much more heavier. So therefore, Shantideva said, Kalpa tungdu sapai, 1,000 years of merit can be destroyed in an instant of anger, rage, like that. So now let's reflect deeper. Of course, the teaching says like this, some says like this. Okay, but then let's now investigate. Because, first of all, anger is gesa kingi mijikpa. It says the circumstance should not, we have to not allow the circumstance to destroy the merit. There's one word called, do not allow the circumstance to destroy the merit. The circumstance, the word circumstance is a dualistic word, right? When you hear the word called circumstance, is a cause and effect word, is a dualistic phenomenon word. So any person with a duality, always there's a danger. We fall into samsara because of the circumstance. So therefore, like sometimes the people become monks and nuns, so they go to retreat because the circumstance is very conducive. You don't get challenged. You don't get, this and that. You're not in a war zone that you have to go and fight them. You're in a peaceful zone. So peaceful zone is like circumstance, a positive circumstance. While you go to a war zone is a negative circumstance. And being in that negative circumstance, place and people and all those things interact, and it lets you to do bad things, negative karma. So that's how, since all merit is, merit or demerit, all comes from our mind fundamentally. So these, our actions and all our merit, it depends on the circumstance. So therefore, if you can bring your mindfulness when the anger arises, and you instantly catch that, you do not allow that, you recognize that, that's very powerful. So therefore, there's a saying in the Shantideva's teaching, there's no greater merit than a patience, right? There's no greater merit than a patience, because it's strengthened to stop all those, that mindfulness strengthened to help us to strengthen, to close the door of all the samsaric danger that we may face. So therefore, you do not allow the negative circumstances from taking it over. So because we're vulnerable to circumstance. If it's Buddha and Padmasambhava enlightened being, doesn't matter. They're always in their awareness. But those beings who are not enlightened awareness, they're always subjected to circumstance, subjected to vulnerability of this circumstance. So therefore, that can destroy the merit. So you do something great, and then you get anger or some negative thought come, it can destroy. And then the other thing is like, you show your merit. Oh, look, I've done these great things, and that will also destroy the merit. Because I did this great thing. Your ego comes, and that's ignorant, and that's affliction. So when you bring your affliction and try to promote your advertisement, how great you are, and showing off that I did this great thing, then that's another cause of how the merit can be destroyed. There's also circumstance, you know. So basically, there are few things like that, to get angry, to, any kind of affliction, anger, and then to show off and to regret. Those are the causes that the merit can be destroyed. So now then how can the merit be not destroyed? The question is, now what is there that merit cannot be destroyed? That is realization on meditation and emptiness. You see, meditation and emptiness is basically the realization of awareness. Then the mind is never fall into affliction. One who is the presence of awareness, you're able to liberate all afflictions wherever they arises. Like the ocean, waves come and it goes back into the ocean. It never judges, no matter how high or how low or this and that. So that is the unchanging kesa kingi mijikpa. The merit is not destroyed by circumstance. It's shunyata, emptiness. So therefore, it's very important. The ultimate presence, ultimate sanity is held by emptiness. So therefore, realization of emptiness become extremely important. Yeah. So I thought that is important. So therefore, then, of course, beginners or people who are not enlightened or beginners, how do we then we do a good karma and merit, whether we do a Ngondro practice or whether we do session of bodhicitta practice or shamatha meditation practice or tonglen practice or any kind of relative practice or absolute practice, whatever we do, how do we seal that into perfection without being stained by circumstance? We need to do the dedication. And the greatest dedication is therefore the bodhisattva dedication. Of course, their mind is, full of, matured into absolute wisdom and compassion, like Manjushri. Therefore, we say Jambarpo, Chitarkembatang. So basically, what you should do, whenever you would do something good or some great positive thought arises, you should dedicate the merit for the enlightenment of all beings. And of course, we do imitation dedication. Since one is not realized into non-duality, one cannot really seal that into non-duality. So it's, so how we do, like Vedi Bodhisattva Manjushri, and like Buddhas of the three times, how they have dedicated merit. Likewise, I also dedicate. Like they have made the aspiration for the enlightenment and happiness of all being, I also make like that. In that way, it become like, sealed in that nature. It's not the absolute dedication, but it's like sealed to that nature. Now, how can that work? Yes, it sounds artificial. It sounds superficial. So how does it seal? Because your essence of Buddha nature and their essence of Buddha nature is same. Whether you realize your essence or not, the essence you have too in your awareness, and Buddha's also awareness. So since you're wholeheartedly, you're not like playing game, but wholeheartedly with devotion and dedication that I dedicate this merit for the enlightenment and happiness of all being. Like the way the 8 Mahasattvas, Manjushri, Avalokeshvara, Tara, Padmasambhava, and the Buddhas of the three times, like they have dedicated, I also dedicate this merit. You just like completely connect your mind to that state, like with all the Buddhas. Like they have make infinite aspiration to benefit being, I also make in that state. Then it gets sealed. So that's the closest we can get to dedication, and then it cannot be destroyed by the circumstance, emotions. So the example is like if a drop of water is dropped in the ocean, that drop will not exhaust until the ocean is not exhausted. Drop of water will remain in the ocean for millions of years until the ocean is not going to dry for like billions of years. So likewise, the example is like a drop of water, it's in the ocean. Likewise, our merit will not be destroyed. Otherwise, circumstance can destroy merit. You can see that logically, circumstance, emotion can destroy that. So like that, I thought that is important to understand. So the three, and then now, for example, now when we again, I want to emphasize on the three circumstances, the circumstance, how circumstance can have effect. Now it's very important. They're all connected. All the practice of Buddha Dharma connected basically in the wisdom and compassion, or emptiness. In one word, is the great, profound emptiness. So, for example, it's called Namtar Sumden in the Tibetan. I don't know how to translate that in English. So let me try. So basically, Namtar Sumden mi gyutsema mepa, depu mumpa mepa, ngotongpanyi. So, for example, when we create a merit, we should not have the deep sense of grasping identity like we always carry with us. I'm John, I'm Chhoje, I'm Gary, I'm Faith, I'm John, I'm James, whatever, we all have our names, and there's some solid thing we always carry. Each and every being, the little ants carry, oh, I'm, very powerful in my world. Anyone try to come, I will attack. That kind of aggression, and that's the affliction mind. Even a little ant, we may laugh at it, we can crush that, but no, it's going to attack you. So that's how the mind is. So therefore, when you really look at for example, when you do something good thing, there are three things involved in doing good thing. One is you, one subject, one is the object, and one is, let's say, you're trying to give someone food, and then the food itself. The subject, object, and the Tibetan word jincha means the object of giving is the object, the person you're giving. Jimparchawa, jincha, jinyul, and jincha. So jinbe yul is the object where you're giving, and jinpa po, the one who is giving, and jimpa is the what you're giving. So what you're giving, who you're giving, the object, and the oneself. Subject, object, and the thing. When you look at their nature, of course, they're all created, whether you give some food that involves, there is food is with grains and all the atoms. And when you look at the fundamental nature of atom is emptiness in that. Then same thing with yourself, the person who is giving is the nature of five skandha. Five skandha nature is emptiness. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. There is no form beside emptiness. There is no emptiness beside form. So the person subject who is giving is five skandha. Five skandha essence is emptiness. And the object you are giving, whether to an animal or whether to a human being, is also five skandha nature. And the five skandha nature in essence is also emptiness. And then the food you're giving is also atom, which in essence is emptiness. Now, here is one catch. You see, many people, because of our nature of duality, when we say emptiness, we just fall into like space, nothing. Okay, that means five skandha nature is emptiness, like there's nothing. We put like a whole cloth of empty, we cover ourselves with the empty, some mask. And the object also covered with the empty mask. The food also covered with it. So like, there's a kind of empty dark hole or something, we think. That's again is not true. That's not really emptiness. Emptiness, emptiness is on a very deeper level is called clear light. On the Mahayana level is called empty. And of course, people can go into that kind of extreme of empty. And there have been many teachings and debated how people should go transcend. It's just our mindset, because once you're used to duality, then you either it exists or you don't exist. That's how our It's just obscuration, you know. If I put it a nice way, it's the way of our thinking. If I put it directly, it's your uh, stain, is your mental stain, your mental obscuration. To get caught up to something, either it exists, something real, or something it doesn't exist, falling into the other extreme, those are all obscuration. What else obscurations are there? You know, and in fact, it's clear light. In essence, it's like openness and its radiance. And five Buddha families, we couldn't see that. So at least first, you know, but the beginning stage of understanding is okay. The nature of a person giving is five skandha. Five skandha essence is emptiness. Object of where who is receiving is five skandha being. Is essence is also emptiness. And what you're giving is also nature of emptiness. So now here, understand the emptiness on a deeper level. You know, as I said, there are like millions, thousands of people will have a different perception in their mind. So when we speak emptiness, there will be many different level of perception. But the true level is emptiness so deep. Anyway, since the essence is emptiness, which is transcended from all extreme, so therefore, when you realize that no circumstance can destroy the merit, that's the point I'm trying to tell. If you see that, you know, when you see the essence, then it's like, so therefore, it is better to see, important to see illusion like practice, illusion like myself, illusion like object, an illusion like food that I'm giving in it. So if you have that notion, at least then you don't fall into the extreme of fundamentalism or extreme of extremes or whatever you may call that. So those are, so therefore for all of this, meditation on our shamatha and emptiness is so important, particularly Vipassana. So I think um, yeah, so I think those important. Please keep that in mind. It covers all your practice, the entire Ngondro practice, entire all your day-to-day life. It depends on these three sacredness and our refuge, the view, meditation, and action. So it's about that. So I think that should be today. I think where I like to now say is enough for today for Ngondro practice, because this covers the entire thing. Now that if you have any question about the Ngondro, so now let's have discussion on that. Any questions?
There's no question.
No question? You said there are questions.
Well, I think people had questions about how to do the Ngondro practice.
Okay, ask them. Please, let's discuss. If you have questions, let's discuss now. You know.
I'm sure people were asking about when one takes the four empowerments during the Ngondro practice. Could you explain what is happening there with the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya and Svabhakakaya?
The whole point of taking for empowerment is a very profound part of our practice, which is actually emptiness. Here we are talking emptiness, realization of emptiness. And for that, in the Tantra, devotion is extremely important. It is said that the enlightened mind, of course, we can, study Heart Sutra, we can study this, mind-only school, middle path school, this school, all the philosophy, but and we can ascertain the view, this way and that way, but finally to really achieve realization, just simply simply through our logical dualistic mind, we cannot achieve realization. Because the mind essence is non-dual, not duality. Duality can take you to a certain place. It's like, you want to climb Mount Everest. It can take you to the base camp. Your guide and your tour guide and your Sherpas will carry your rucksack and take you to the base camp, pitch a tent, and then you need to climb by yourself. Same thing, uh, 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 and they use understanding of form is emptiness, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is no other than emptiness. Those logical understanding is important. Now finally you have to jump into it. And for that, you need jump into it means you got to give up all your notion of duality, including your dualistic, which is basically dualistic, including your logical mind, including your, because if you keep analyzing, does this make then this circumstance, we talk about that today early, circumstance, then you can never realize emptiness. So therefore, the devotion becomes so crucial at that point. From the seeing the one who gave you the Vajrayana teaching, your Lama into a Buddha himself, that level of devotion, and and oneness, and then you take the full empowerment, the vast empowerment, the secret empowerment, the wisdom empowerment, the Swabhavika Kaya empowerment, the full empowerment. Basically, it's like oneness with the Lama. And in that way, then you get realized. And this realization is not easy. To break duality, is, you can imagine, will be the toughest thing. But yes, since our essence is non-dual nature, is not difficult for someone who is a practitioner. But that practitioner requires tremendous merit, including the strength of bodhicitta and devotion as a circumstance. The devotion play like a key to opening the door. Without that key, you cannot open the door. Even, what's in the house already is in your mind. But here the door is the blockage, large blockage you have, the duality. In order to break that dualistic door, you need devotion. And that's like the key. That's really the point here. So then once you have that, then you begin to see the clear light. For example, there's a story of Tilopa and Naropa. Naropa was Mahapandita, one who is learned in 5 arts, language, sound, all kinds of sound, language, logic, art, and medicine, and then inner psychology. He's incredible merit. And then the one night, the Tara appeared to him in his dream and said that you are very learned. Sigla Kekyang, you are learned in words, but you're extremely confused in meaning, realization. The Tara appeared in his dream and prophesies. Now, if you want to get realized, you should go meet your guru, who is Tilopa. And Tara prophesies to Naropa, and then he embarked, finding where Tilopa is. And that's I think it's northern India. When I was young, I studied in a place called Dalhousie. It's a British summer hill station, cooling from the place of Delhi and Rajasthan, which is so hot. The British would go in summertime to hill station, and it's named after Lord Dalhousie. I spent 4 years with Chhoje Rinpoche and went to Catholic school when I was young, studying there. And when you go to Dalhousie, the bus stop at a place called Tilopuk. That's where Tilopa was. And there's a nunnery there, Tibetan Buddhist nunnery there. And there's a river also. So then, Naropa came, and Naropa, looking in search of Tilopa with the direction of his Tara's prophecy. And finally, he get to this place, and he asked people, "Did you hear where's the great Tilopa, the master?" And nobody knew the great master Tilopa. They said, "Oh, yeah." Then somebody said, "There is a fisherman called Tilopa, you know. Maybe he is. We don't know. We have no great master here called Tilopa." So then he went. Naropa was the Mahapandita of Nalanda University. He was not just any scholar, but extremely, extremely learned scholar. Then when he went there, he saw Tilopa, a man fishing, eating one fish, snapping a finger, then again catching a fish, like that. So Naropa, since he was so highly realized, he said, you cannot judge by simply an appearance how they manifest. Enlightened beings can manifest in all kinds of form. So he did 3 prostration to him, and he asked, "Can you be my teacher?" He didn't answer, I think, I'm not sure, but something like that. And then for next 3 years, Tilopa didn't give him any teaching. He didn't receive a word of teaching from Tilopa, I think, for 3 years. Then, in the meantime, Tilopa would make him do very, how would you call, childish thing, or, and get him into a lot of trouble. 24 great painstaking, 12 great painstaking, and 24 minor painstaking, Then one day he was on a roof, and then he said, just they were both, nobody else was there. He said, "If I have a good student, the student will jump from this roof." And Naropa looked around, and when Tilopa said that, there was no one else beside Naropa himself. So he jumped. And he, have injuries and painful. And then Tilopa, I think, I don't know, then finally Tilopa when say, how are you? He said, "A lot of pain. I'm dying. I'm in a lot of pain." Then Tilopa healed him, and then again. So like that. Now imagine, this is someone so amazing, fortunate to meet a unconventional Mahasiddha. But today, uh, uh, I guess charlatan teachers are also there. I wouldn't be surprised in the ancient times too. Supposing you meet a fake teachers and tell you to jump, it'll be disaster, right? So here, so here at least Naropa was fortunate to meet, and he healed him each time, basically to purify his negative karma, deep inside, with tremendous love and respect. That's what he was needed. So finally, one day, then Tilopa hit his sandal on his forehead, forehead, and then he fainted. When he stood up, his mind was same as Tilopa in Latin. So then Naropa fainted, and then Naropa, you can see his teaching and his followers. Naropa's student is Marpa, Milarepa, Gampopa, then Rechungpa, all these great masters today, all from the Kagyu lineage like that. Then also like the wisdom of perfect teacher. Wisdom of perfect teacher was by Patul Rinpoche. You all know, you all read the wisdom of perfect teacher. But Patul Rinpoche was not enlightened in his earlier lifetime. He was a bodhisattva, giving bodhicitta avatara teaching. And wherever he gives a bodhicitta avatara teaching in wintertime, a flower will grow, like that, wherever he will give. An incredible great master. And then he was great, great bodhisattva, but not enlightened yet. So the Jamyang Khyentse Chökylötö, who was his guru, told him to go study with Do Khyentse, Do Khyentse So he went for a look for a Dokinde, and he couldn't find easy. And then finally somebody said, yeah, Dawkins is there. When he got inside, there was this man, wild man, not a monk. Patul Rinpoche is a monk who's got 254 vows, a bodhisattva on top of that, you know. I bet he was a vegetarian, whatever. So then when he saw Dawkins, he has a gun, he has a big knife. So then Patul Rinpoche got a little doubt, first of all, is this the real person? I'm the right person or what? And then, of course, he was the right person. Then Patul Rinpoche said, Jamin Kinze Chukulu to send him to study with you, for me to go and study with you. So please give me teaching. Okay, he said, all right. We have two jobs to do. He's a hunter. Either you hunt, shoot the animals and kill, and I will skin the animal, or you skin and I will shoot. That's the two jobs. So you pick which one you want. So Padma Rinpoche got so confused. How can this be a Buddhist teacher? How, is supposed to be practicing bodhicitta, peaceful, compassion. And here I am now in this spot. And my teacher said, go and study with him. Am I in the right place? So a lot of thoughts came to him. And then, of course, since he was told to do that, he, got to him. Then finally he has to choose one thing. He said, okay, I will skin the animal. I'm not going to shoot and kill it. Okay. So then every day they would go, almost, I don't know, every day, but they would go. And Dawkins will kill the deers and animal, they bring it back, and then, Padma Rinpoche was skilled. Can you imagine the one who gave Bodhichara Avatara, not, but, who is a Bodhisattva, as Shantideva explained, and one who wrote the words of my perfect teacher. So then after some time, it was too difficult. He thought, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. This is not my practice. I took Bodhisattva vow. How can I do like this? This is so against my principle, everything what I believe. And this can't be a teacher really like. But then he remembered his teacher saying, go to him. So then he said one day, okay, now I want to leave. Thank you very much for everything. I want to leave, I think something like that. Then Dawkins said, okay, leaving is easy, but once you go, you cannot come back. So think carefully before. So then, then he, of course, he stayed furthermore. And then one day, there was a deer with a pregnant deer. And Dawkins said, shoot that. And Patul Rinpoche said, don't do that. It's going to die anyway. The baby was kind of like, coming out something. And Patul Rinpoche said, don't do that. And Dawkins said, no, shoot it. If you don't, I'll do. He shot and killed. Then he got really like, this is too much, And so then they were this. I'm just telling you one part of the story of Dawkins. One time, Dawkins was invited to a family, come nomads. These are nomadic Tibetan family. These are unconventional enlightened master, and we couldn't see from the appearance, but deep inside, they are liberating beings. So this family asked Dawkins to do please ceremony for the healing and well-being. So Dawkins did meditation. Suddenly Dawkins said, that yak is causing you suffering, kill that. The family got shocked. He killed that, skinned it, and then the family said, you're a Buddhist master. How can you do like this? Okay. Then he put the skin, put the head, put the leg and feet, snap a finger, he stood up and left. So it is saying that you can kill someone if you can make it alive. Killing is easy, but making it alive back is not easy. If you can do that, you have the power, then, they can liberate beings like that. So that's what Tilopa and the appearance look like very, totally opposite of Dharma. But in essence, they are all, very powerful being like that. So then the last story of Patul Rinpoche, one day, Patul Rinpoche was walking and Do Khyentse was coming, and Do Khyentse he smelled like who is drunk, carrying a gun, everything, and Patul Rinpoche, what a shame. He's supposed to be a lama, and from his mouth, all he smell is alcohol, and then carrying a sword and a gun. What a shame. And Dawkins instantly, of course, he can read the mind. He's omniscient. He said, "You old dog." Dawkins grab him and kick him, and he fainted. And when he woke up, he was enlightened. So Parul Rinpoche, in his teaching, he says his greatest name is the old dog. That's my secret name. The greatest name is my old dog. That Dawkins are finally, like that. So you see, Naropa was incredible great scholar. As far as scholarly concerned, you can see he was greater than Tilopa. But yet he wasn't enlightened. So Tara appeared in his dream and told him to go to Tilopa, to Naropa. And Dawkins with Patul Rinpoche also, the same thing. So you see, and that's where the devotion comes. You have to be so fortunate to meet a profound lineage. Whether that Lama is like conventional or unconventional doesn't matter. Wherever you receive the teaching, you really should have the devotion and compassion to all beings. And then you will realize the true nature. So I just keep sharing this story with you guys. Sounds very quite something anyway. Yeah. Any other questions?
Does anyone have any questions? If not, there's one more.
Yeah.
During the mandala offering Rinpoche, during the Ngondro practice, so should we reflect on those three sacred views that you were discussing earlier?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All practice, the three sacred views, is the nature of reality. Buddha Dharma, it says that it shouldn't be more than the reality and it shouldn't be less than the reality. In fact, all practice, you know what I mean? All practice, it shouldn't be more than the reality, it shouldn't be less than the reality.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Could you also mention one thing, a few words about what's happening in Bodh Gaya right now during the
Yeah,
Mamam
now
practice?
the World Peace Prayer has started, and it's on YouTube. You can all see that. Put 2026 Nyingma Mulam in Bodh Gaya, the World Peace Prayer, Nyingma Mulam World Peace, 37 World Peace Prayer. This year is the 37th time. So for 37 years, we've been doing it. So you can view the whole congregation of all the great lamas and yogis and yoginis and monks and nuns and laymen and women. I think there was 10,000 right now. They're all doing world peace, which is needed more than ever. And I request all of you to please include in your prayer world peace these days, that we need more than ever. So, join your mind with what they're doing. In fact, right now, it may have started the prayer. If you go online, if you have Facebook or, I don't have Facebook usually, I just look YouTube. So YouTube, you can view the 37 World Peace Prayer. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Does anyone else have questions for Rinpoche?
So also, here I am. I've been taking care of my health and have my heart procedure done. And these days I'm resting and healing, doing exercise, things like that. So I feel much better. And this year I will be spending more time, with you all. And that's my plan. And in the meantime, you all please do your respective practice, Ngondro practice or meditation or study group. Those are very important. And that's all I want to say. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Would you give us the transmission for the Kenlob Chosum Rinpoche, the 4-line prayer?
Yeah.
This is the prayer for the flourishing of the Nyingma lineage.
Kenlo chusum ringlu chi zamling sasum kyaprakpe. Kenlo chusum ringlu chi zamling sasum kyaprakpe. Dugyu chosum nawada mide tusum geleshu. Kenlo chusum ringlu chi zamling sasum kyap. Dugyu chosum nawada mide tusum geleshu. Kenlo chusum ringlu chi zamling sasum kyap. Dugyu chosum nawada mide tusum geleshu. So you see, in this world, people need different manifestation of enlightened being. When we look at Buddha Shakyamuni, he was a king. He was a prince who abandoned the kingdom and become ecstatic first. Then, we all know what Shakyamuni Buddha, his life history, who came in this world and spread the profound Dharma. And then his followers, so many great scholars to realize masters from India to Tibet, then all over the world, China, Japan, and Himalayan mountains, great practitioner. And now in America, you all are practitioner. By practicing the profound Dharma, you will all achieve really, at the least, if you do Dharma practice, you can be born as a good, higher rebirth of human being with meeting the Dharma and able to practice Dharma in your next life. And if you do great Dharma, you will achieve enlightenment. And at least during the bardo, you will be free from the cyclic existence. That's for sure is going to happen. So it's all up to you. You are diligent. How importance you give to your Dharma practice. So therefore, as I said, how the today share the main message for 3 sacredness, and then how we can maintain the sanity of our merit without being destroyed by circumstance. So these are very important things to reflect inside, I think. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we say your
No, let's do the world peace prayer. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not in the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly realized. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not in the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly realized. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly realized. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neuroses which are the enemies. From the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, may
from the ocean of samsara, may all beings be liberated.
Yep. So today, there are great examples. We have His Holiness Dalai Lama, Manjushri, who in person spreading the Dharma, and many great lamas, and many great teachers. So those are our role models, and and then we should always maintain a pure vision, such as even they can be unconventional master. Never have a judgment to them, because if you judge, if they're really enlightened, if you judge, then you create bad karma. Again, circumstance. Again, we were talking about earlier. The circumstance can destroy. So just have equanimity view. And those you can, how you can make yourself examples of the great practitioner and follow that. And then it'll be good in your life. And have compassion to all beings. And maintain your sanity. That's the most important in your mind. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Faith, will you end the recording?
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Ellison.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.